Stop.
That lawnmower. That's that. Yeah. Stop that. Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know.
And made a post and basically told Roach. He tagged Lamar Roach and he said, "Look, you're not getting that fight with Tank."
A day in the life of Gervonta "Tank" Davis as he prepares for Jake Paul revolves around focus and relentless work. Every session targets sharpness, power, and speed. From intense conditioning drills to sparring rounds, Davis maintains discipline and a laser focus on his goals. Each workout reflects his commitment to being fully prepared for the challenge ahead, leaving no room for distractions. Rally Romero adds perspective on the matchup, highlighting that Tank's legacy is already secure. As a world champion with major accomplishments, Davis doesn't need to prove anything against Jake Paul. Romero notes, however, that Jake's size presents a physical factor to consider. While Paul's natural size may offer an edge, it doesn't take away from the respect and accolades Tank has earned throughout his career.
Paul might be too big for him, but Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know. Like I said, or it's an exhibition. We don't know if they know at each other or not, or we don't know. I don't know. I can't give an opinion because I don't know what's going on.
Do you think it impacts, will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were to beat him or even knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take anything away from him.
You know, some people trying to give, that's fair, some people trying to give Tank a hard time. They're saying he should have took a fight with Lamar Roach or Shakur Stevenson. But when you think about it, do you think this is business and look, he's getting a bag, or is there some validity to people saying that he ducked Roach?
I mean, there's still other options, you know? It's bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them. It's the same way Roach feels Tank is the best option for him. Same way that Stevenson thinks Tank's the best option for him, or all that stuff, right?
Paulie Malignaggi emphasizes the difference between sheer size and true experience. While Jake Paul has gained popularity and grown physically, Malignaggi points out that real boxing knowledge outweighs raw power. Gervonta "Tank" Davis has competed on the biggest stages, headlined major events, and faced elite opponents. No matter Jake Paul's size, he cannot match the years of training, ring intelligence, and adaptability that Tank brings. Malignaggi's view underscores a timeless boxing truth. Skill and experience often triumph over physical advantages alone.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. Yeah. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen. There's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch a lightweight, can drop a heavyweight. There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks...
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion, multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing. And I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned mine?
Teofimo Lopez views the matchup more as a showpiece than a traditional contest. From his perspective, it's less about rankings or legacy and more about entertainment and big paydays. He points out that both Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis stand to earn massive amounts from the event, and that in itself is significant. While the fight doesn't have the weight of a championship bout, Lopez believes it still benefits boxing by pulling in mainstream attention. Even if it feels closer to an exhibition, the exposure could bring in fresh fans and help the sport.
Really invested on it, and I'm actually very happy for Gervonta and Jake. I really am, man. It's good for the sport in some way, you know?
So a heavyweight versus a lightweight.
Yeah.
You got a fly hit me, yeah. A heavyweight versus a lightweight. How's this gonna work?
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, you know, they know what they're doing. And, you know, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction? A show.
Well, clearly it's a show, but
Yeah.
when you've got a lot of people underestimating Jake Paul once again, but when you've got a heavyweight boxer who knows how to throw punches and knows the basics
You might
against
see-
a lightweight,
You know what
it's
I'm
quite a
thinking?
difference. I mean, have you sparred heavyweights before?
Yeah.
For competitive sparring in the ring?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same, not at all. Definitely got to move. I've actually played around a few times, went through between their legs just to duck around. But yeah, because they're taller, you know. But I think for that competition, that fight, it reminds me a lot like The Big Show, and Floyd Mayweather when they fought in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And will that end the same way?
Possibly. Maybe some brass knuckles in there too.
Can you see Jake Paul knocking out Gervonta Davis?
It's boxing, man. And if it's a show like this, anything goes, anything happens.
Nate Diaz, never one to sugarcoat his opinions, brushed off the fight completely. In his eyes, the matchup doesn't bring any real competitive value to the table. Diaz argued that regardless of who walks away with the win, it won't truly elevate either fighter's career. To him, the whole event feels more like scripted entertainment than a serious boxing contest. His take cuts through the hype, framing the bout as a sideshow rather than a meaningful sporting clash. Jeff Mayweather shared a similar level of doubt as Nate Diaz when it comes to this fight. He questioned why such a matchup is even happening, pointing out the odd pairing of a proven world champion like Tank Davis against a YouTuber-turned-boxer in Jake Paul. While he admits that boxing often comes down to business decisions, Jeff sees this particular event as strange and somewhat unnecessary. His take mirrors the confusion many longtime boxing fans have when it comes to these crossover spectacles.
It's kind of weird because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank, and I mean, but with it being a exhibition, it makes sense. It's fine. He got a big name that he's going to be fighting, but I mean, it really makes no sense because he's gonna be weighing over 200 and some pounds. Tank's gonna probably be weighing maybe at the most 147, 150. So I don't even understand why the fight is happening.
KSI, who has carved out his own lane in the influencer boxing world. shared his perspective on Jake Paul's promotional playbook. He argued that talk of a potential clash between Jake and Anthony Joshua was never a serious possibility, but rather a clever tactic to generate headlines and fan speculation. From KSI's point of view, Jake's fight with Tank Davis follows the same pattern, more about creating buzz than chasing genuine heavyweight-level challenges. His comments highlight how today's boxing promotions often blur the line between sport and spectacle, relying heavily on hype to keep fans invested.
I knew AJ and Jake was never gonna happen.
I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
You thought it was actually gonna happen? Bro, it's so crazy. Like, I feel like so many people just believe everything online.
But that's pretty unbelievable on the other hand.
I feel like I know. Well, okay, how do I say it like this? Itoma versus White. I had a lot of people bet on White winning. And I'm there like, you guys don't watch boxing, do you? You just look at a record and go, oh, Dylan's fought many more people than Itoma. That record says a lot. Itoma's like 18, not 18, Itoma's 20, inexperienced, one. Like, I just knew Itoma was gonna just destroy him. And I think a good fight for Itoma would be him and Wilder. I think that'd be a very good fight.
Jake Paul's coach, BJ Flores, has taken a much more optimistic view of the situation. He sees Jake's future at cruiserweight and heavyweight, where his natural size and frame give him the best chance to succeed. Still, Flores admits that a fight with Gervonta "Tank" Davis brings massive upside. Stepping in with a proven champion not only boosts Jake's visibility, but also sets the stage for bigger opportunities against tougher names in higher weight classes. In Flores' eyes, this matchup isn't the destination, it's a stepping stone in Jake's overall boxing journey.
That's a funny story. So one of my good friends, Armani, he has been working with Jake Paul for the last 2 years. There was a little time where Shane wasn't there with Jake, and Armani called me up and said, hey, BJ, will you come down to Big Bear and spar with Jake? And I'm like, you want me to spar with Jake? I'm thinking to myself, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, he's beating up all his sparring partners. We come, I was like, all right, I mean, fine, I'll go down there and do it. I have been inactive. I haven't done anything for like 8 months, but I was like, okay, I'll go down there. So we spar a couple times. After that, they decided I was too big for him. And, it's better if we just, not do it. And, then they asked me if I would be interested in like working the mitts with him and helping him with the combinations, because I was hitting him with some combinations they hadn't seen before. And I said, we can teach him all those things and have him doing all those things. And so I started working the mitts with him and helping him out on the mitts. And he told his trainers and everybody, they're like, man, I want BJ around for the entire camp because I'm getting better. My job is like Shane does the advice in the corner and I do the mitts.
Veteran journalist Gareth A. Davies didn't mince words when weighing in on the matchup, calling it more of a spectacle than a legitimate contest. In his eyes, the fight is built on hype and entertainment value rather than true sporting merit. Davies points out that the clear difference in size and weight between the fighters takes away from the idea of fair competition, reducing it to an event designed mainly for financial reward. His criticism reflects a larger concern about boxing drifting further into show-driven exhibitions, where spectacle overshadows skill. He cautions that if this trend continues, traditional fans could lose faith in the sport's integrity. Still, Davies admits one undeniable truth. No matter how controversial, events like this generate massive buzz, and that controversy often serves as one of boxing's strongest promotional weapons.
I think we've gone out of the frying pan and into the fire because we thought we were going to get Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua very soon. We'll speak to Frank Smith about that in the next section, obviously. Eddie Hearn was teasing it to me personally last week, £80 million on the table for Anthony Joshua to fight Jake Paul. But 8 inches in height difference, 7 weight divisions between them, 5 stone, 70 pounds between them. It's a joke. It's a circus fight, as opposed to a disgrace of a fight which was Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. At least you feel in this you've got quite a poor, very big one against a pound-for-pound, brilliant, unbeaten little un. And the little un who'll come up to his navel will hit him with a lot of body shots. I said in the week to Danny Kelly and Charlie Brooker that, do I mean Charlie Brooker? No, Baker. Charlie Baker. That Charlie Brooker's a different person altogether. That he'll be throwing the Superman punch, the leaping left hook. It's going to be a very odd thing. It's called, in inverted commas, an exhibition bout. But everybody in boxing who is a name doesn't mind going in with Jake Paul because they know they're making millions of dollars. And that's the only reason that Gervonta Davis, who's being called the poison little elf by Jake Paul, and it'll be fun in the build-up. Everybody in boxing knows they're guaranteed to make millions of those silverbacks, those greenback notes that they give out in America, and they give them out for fun when Jake Paul fights. So he's not going to say no to it. But can you pick a winner in that fight?
I don't want to.
Vargas Jr. sees the fight from another angle, emphasizing the shock factor. He explains that the unpredictability of this matchup is exactly what makes it intriguing. Since very few people saw it coming, the surprise alone sparks excitement among fans. Audiences often crave something fresh, and Vargas Jr. points out that this bout delivers just that. Whether viewed as positive or negative, he believes the unexpected nature of the fight ensures people will be talking about it.
You know, the way we dress, or this generation, as far as like fighters, they relate to more who's more popular. You know, that's why we're seeing the Jake Paul versus Gervonta fight, which is, bro, that's crazy to me because we would never see that. And, you know, back in my dad's day, but now we're getting this and it's just like, fuck it. I mean, people are going to see it, bro. So it is what it is. But whether people know him more or not, or me, it doesn't matter. You know, I know that he's coming and he's coming game and he wants to make a statement as well. So we're just coming to interrupt those plans. You know, this is boxing, and, you know, I'm so excited to demonstrate my skills. I could box, I could counterpunch, I could bang when I want to, and I'm gonna demonstrate that. I'm gonna do what I want to do in there come September 13th.
Yeah, you know, we spoke about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But it's a 10-round fight. You know, could be a different pace of a fight, but what do you think is like the key for you to get this win, regardless if it's a knockout or if it goes all 10 rounds?
I think just be smart. Be in there, be smart, be first, and do what I do. I think if I try to do a little too much, like my dad says, when you try doing too much, it looks you're trying too hard. So only thing I got to do is just come in the best shape possible. If it goes 10 rounds, then it goes 10 rounds. You know, we're doing 12 rounds of sparring, so if it needs to go to 10 rounds, we'll have the gas tank to go. You know, I don't know if he's gone a full 10 rounds. You know, I haven't, so it'll be something for fight day. You know, if we do end up going the distance, then we end up going the distance.
Wade Plem argues that Jake Paul has injected fresh energy into boxing by bringing in audiences who might have never followed the sport before. He notes Jake's strongest influence is among younger fans, who gravitate more toward entertainment-driven events than traditional matchups. While boxing purists dismiss these fights as gimmicks, Wade views them as part of the sport's evolution. In his eyes, the upcoming clash with Gervonta Tank Davis continues that momentum by drawing mainstream attention, even if it sparks controversy. For Wade, the boost in boxing's popularity and cultural relevance outweighs concerns about authenticity. At the same time, several analysts emphasize that this fight is less about sporting competition and more about business, pointing out that Jake Paul stands to gain the most by stepping into the ring with an established world champion like Davis.
Yes, man, that's the circus. If you want to join the circus, that's the circus. I don't see the value. I just see money involved in that. If they want the money, if that's what they want to do, then go ahead and go ahead and get the money. But other than that, I'm not. You got a guy, Jake Paul, that's what, 6'3", 6'4", almost. Then you got a guy, Gervonta Davis, that's like 5'5", a little guy. Yeah. Y'all gonna try to, who's 200 pounds, who's just for Mike Tyson there, I'm gonna throw him in there with a 135. It's just a circus, and that's what they want to do to get money, to generate money in the sport of boxing instead of Gervonta Davis. This is a legacy fight. He was supposed to fight Lamont Roach after this, and then he say, no. Think about it. You really can't say too much. When you say Gervonta Tank Davis and you say Lamont Roach.
For Jake Paul, this matchup brings enormous exposure, credibility, and financial upside. Win or lose experts see it as a smart business move, one that helps grow his brand, expand his fan base, and unlock major opportunities in the boxing market. The ripple effect of this fight also extends to other fighters like Lamont. Since Tank is committed to facing Paul, a potential rematch with Lamont is off the table for now. Even so, analysts point out that Lamont still has plenty of paths forward, with alternative bouts available to boost his career. This shows how crossover events like Jake Paul versus Tank can reshape the boxing calendar, closing some doors while opening others.
Where does Lamont Roach Jr. go from here? He's got options. That young kid, Kamel Moton or Morton is calling him out. He ain't going to do that. He's only 19. Floyd's young fighter. He can wait for the winner of Abdullah Mason, Sam Noakes. Floyd Schofield's out. Options is what I'm trying to say. And then look, does he want to go down a weight? Does he want to go down to super feather? Let's not forget, I think he's still a belt holder in that division. Shaki Foster's there. Stephen Fulton is now in the division. We saw Raymond Ford on the weekend. When was that fight? 2 weekends ago. So there are options out there for.
That's all for today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more updates coming your way soon.